The next step for Barcelona in finding a solution is getting a winger. And can you really get better than Neymar in the world right now? I don't think so. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. And today we're going to be taking a look at Neymar, and more particularly the need of Barca to sign a winger. This is something that all of you are strongly about and desperately wanted me to talk about it, and I'm here for you guys today. I also agree with you that I think a tricky winger, as I like to call it here on this channel, is one of the main things that Barcelona are currently lacking. We're gonna be mentioning how this can be also affecting Messi more specifically, and why he looks out of form in a way, and why hasn't he been able to be as clinical, not necessarily in the grand scheme of things, but when it comes to individual games. I think that Neymar could be a solution, and certainly a fix in the short term for what's happening for Barcelona on the pitch right now. But before getting into actually whether Barca should spend that huge amount of money on Neymar or not, let's actually know why would this be the case. Barcelona, the best front three that I've ever seen in my young Barca fan career, has been the MSN, Messi, Suarez and Neymar. And the reason why I enjoyed them so much was not only because of the synergy that they had off the field, but also because of their understanding within it. We had Luis Suarez, which was and still is the enabler, and you can see that with his injury, Messi is not enjoying the best time as he has to do all of the kind of hard work in that front line. Luis Suarez is a player that is able to kind of pinpoint those defenders and stretch them out and keep them busy, while Messi then has open space to curl in with a left foot like he always does from outside the box. That is one of the main key areas of Luis Suarez's game. In the case of Neymar also saw a player that allowed Messi to get one-on-ones in close with him and would also help us stretch that defense. Most of the time now Messi has like 4 or 5 defenders onto him, and before we had an extra player that could take care of those defenders of the opposition. Right now at Barcelona, let's take for instance Antoine Griezmann, which is supposed to be that guy that's going to be taken through that left wing role, right? If Luis Suarez is of course fit. Well, Antoine Griezmann doesn't nearly have the quality, the pace, and the one-on-one ability to get past those players like Neymar. Griezmann is very good when it comes to doing those quick passes and association plays with someone like Messi. But most of the time, when he needs to enable for another player, he's not capable of doing so. And in Atletico Madrid, for instance, Antoine Griezmann was the guy who benefited from that. He was the guy that benefited from others working for him. The same in somewhere like France, where Giroud is that constant striker pinpointing those defenders and letting him with much more space. That is something that is really struggling with Barcelona, and this is where the planning, I think, from the board upstairs is really making just a bad impact on the team, because we had the money to sign a lot of players, and yes, Antoine Griezmann came into this side, and right now I'm not blaming Griezmann whatsoever. He's still one of my favorite players off and up the field, but in this team we needed other kind of roles that needed preparation for earlier, and one of them was that tricky winger that we're talking about. Before, when Neymar left, Valverde was left with a very big important kind of decision. What he was going to do was he was going to right now put Dembélé, which at that stage was a little bit kind of green, you know, he was not perhaps ripe enough, like a fruit per se. So in that sense, Valverde decided to go with a 4-4-2 and still implement Coutinho for the left hand side. But let me tell you, Coutinho not at all is still able to replicate what we needed to do of a left winger. And Ousmane Dembélé, for me, still, when you take a look at the players out there in the market that Barcelona could potentially sign, he's one of those that is still one of the best possibilities out there. He's still one of the best players that could replicate that role that Neymar did for Barcelona and what was so useful for us to be able to break teams down. With that being said, what solution can Barcelona have to that problem right now? And I think the best solution that Barcelona could do is just give them more game time to Ansu Fati. Reports came out today that people in the Barcelona management are worried that the way that Ansu Fati is being treated is not the correct one. Well, the correct one is to get him more regular game time, right? So I think that would be the best option. Stick again with the front three. Because Quique Setién was constantly putting Arturo Vidal to be that player because in his eyes, he was the only one that could bring that ball down. As Barcelona weren't as good and constantly being pressured from the front line, Ter Stegen could put the long ball or any other defender and then find Arturo Vidal. Yes, that's a viable option, but we saw that in the Clásico, he couldn't really do that job, and that false winger type of thing that has been implemented with Vidal, I don't think has any legs. I don't really think that can take off. So Ansu Fati, Martin Braithwaite, we bring them for a reason. Let those guys play and we could see how they could develop in the future. I think that the best thing about them is that they break lines. With their pace, they're able to simply drag a defender out. And then we have less players within the area. And guess what? That's easier to break teams down. Something like that was lacking from minute 1 against Real Madrid. And you could see the impact that Braithwaite did as soon as he got there in the Bernabeu. First 2 chances, he got past Marcelo very easily. And that is something that Barcelona are lacking. Right now, we're in desperate need of a winger like that. And the last point that I wanted to make on this video is that without a winger, like a Neymar, like an Ansu Fati, like Braithwaite, or any other playing in that position, in that role, Messi's doing way more jobs. Messi's working way harder. And against Real Madrid, he looked fatigued. And not only him, the entire team. Let's be completely honest. Let's give the kind of criticism where it's due. The entire team looked fatigued. Could this be down to Quique Setién? Well, some people are saying that it's due that Quique Setién is doing very hard trainings and the players have not caught up to it yet. But I think much rather is that, for instance, someone like Messi, that we always kind of have him in our heads being fresh and ready to go. And in one-on-ones against someone like Marcelo, he could constantly beat him every single time. Now Messi has to kind of work even more. The midfielders are not doing their job, so he has to drop back, get the ball, and kind of progress it with it. Realistically, you want Messi in kind of the third area of the pitch, where simply he will be the player that say, just pass me the ball, and then he'll be able to either create an amazing chance for the next player, be it that tricky winger, that extra forward up there, and then he would score the goal, or have Messi then finish the chance for himself. Of course, Messi can help you to create from deep. That is something that is on his quality, on his skill set, that will always be appreciated. And not only because we literally have only 4 forwards, but because we were buying players badly before. Right now, like I said with the title of this video, with buying Neymar be a solution? Yes, bringing back Neymar would be a solution for Barcelona in the short term. Are we looking for someone in the long term? Then spend the money a little bit more and go for someone like Jadon Sancho. I'm not saying that Neymar is the fix, the ultimate fix, and it just has to be Neymar. A winger like that is what we need. We literally have 2 of them in our ranks right now. Dembele, but unfortunately because of injury, we cannot really trust him. And then Ansu Fati, which is just way too young. We need to give him the game time. Yes, he will have it, but in reality, you want someone a little bit more prepared for what is to come, to put more pressure on him. So Barcelona, the next thing that you need to do is to sign a winger. So that's going to be it for right now, guys. I really want to know your opinions about which winger you would bring in. I'll be doing and collecting all of the suggestions that you have. Most of them I already mentioned them in this video, hinted at them: Sancho, Ferran Torres, Mané, Sané even as well. All of them. And I'll be trying to do a video comparison between them and see which one would I think we suited the best to Barcelona. In reality, for me, just as a spoiler, I think we should put our chips towards a certain young English winger. Because if he's going to be available in the market, then get him. He's probably the best that we can get without overpaying for someone like Neymar.